The human woke up slowly. Cold metal touched his skin. Chains were tight around his wrists and ankles. The air smelled of dust, blood, and burning fuel. A low humming sound filled the dark room, like a sleeping monster breathing. He opened his eyes. The ceiling was not from Earth. Strange symbols glowed faintly above him. Blue lights moved like veins across black metal walls. This was not a prison built for comfort. It was built to break things, to break people. The human did not scream. He did not move. Around him, other slaves slept or cried quietly. Some were not moving at all. Their bodies were thin. Their eyes were empty. Hope had left them long ago. This place was called Zarnak Station, a deep space slave hub, far from any law, far from mercy. Humans were rare here. They were weak, the masters said. Too soft, too emotional, too easy to control. That was why they sold well. The human had been here for many cycles. He did not know how many. Time was strange in space. Days blended into pain, hunger, and work. He was used in the lower mines first, digging energy crystals until his hands bled. When he survived that, they sent him to repair work. Broken machines. Dangereux. Jobs meant to kill slaves slowly. But he survived. He always survived. A loud metallic sound echoed through the chamber. Clang. The cell doors opened. Alien guards walked in. Tall, armored. Their eyes glowed yellow behind black helmets. Their voices were sharp and mocking. "Wake up, animals," one guard shouted. A slave cried. Another begged. The human stayed silent. The guard stopped in front of him. "This one," the guard said, pointing. "Still alive? Impressive for a human." The others laughed. "Maybe he is too stupid to know he should die." The human slowly stood up. His body hurt, but his eyes were clear. Calm. Focused. The guards noticed that. They did not like it. He was dragged through long halls made of steel and glass. Outside the windows, stars burned in endless darkness. Massive ships floated like gods. This station fed entire empires with slave labor. And humans were at the bottom. As he walked, memories returned. Earth, blue skies, green land, cities full of noise and light. Then fire, ships in the sky, defenses falling, nations fighting together and still losing. Humans fought hard, too hard. That was why the galaxy feared them at first. Then the lies came. They called humans weak. They erased their victories. They sold the survivors. The human reached the central hall. A crowd waited. Alien masters sat above on high platforms. Rich, safe, bored. Below them, slaves were lined up. A tall master stood and raised his hand. "Today," he said loudly, "we reward survival." The crowd laughed. Rewards were rare. Usually, survival only brought more pain. The master's eyes locked on the human. "You," he said, "you have outlived expectations. You do not cry. You do not beg. You do not die." The human said nothing. The master smiled. "That makes you interesting." A guard stepped forward. "You have earned a reward," the master continued. The slaves gasped. A reward? For a human? The human felt something strange. Not hope, not fear, curiosity. The floor shook. A large gate behind the arena slowly opened. Heavy footsteps echoed. Step, step, step. A shadow appeared. Tall, wide, powerful. The crowd grew louder. "No way." An orc. From the darkness, a figure walked forward. A female orc. Her skin was deep green, marked with old battle scars. Her muscles were strong, built for war. Chains hung from her neck and arms, but she stood straight. Proud, angry. Her eyes burned with hate. Orcs were warriors, conquerors, never slaves. The human looked at her. She looked at him. She expected fear. She did not find it. The master laughed loudly. "Your reward," he said, spreading his arms, "is ownership." The crowd roared. A fighter slave, a beast, perfect for a weak human. The orc girl clenched her fists. She would rather die. The human felt the weight of the moment. He understood something then. This was not a reward. This was a test, or a trap. The chains connecting them clicked shut. Human and orc, bound together. The master leaned forward. "Entertain us," he said. The human lifted his head slowly. For the first time since Earth fell, his eyes hardened. Not with anger, but with purpose, because the galaxy had made a mistake, and it was about to learn it. The chains were heavy. The human felt their weight pull against his arms as he stood beside the orc girl. The metal links connected them at the wrist, forcing them close. Too close for comfort. The crowd watched with excitement. They expected fear. They expected blood. The orc girl turned her head slowly and looked down at the human. Her eyes were sharp, full of anger and pain. She had fought in real wars. She had crushed enemies bigger than him. Yet this moment felt worse than battle. "So," she said in a low voice, "you are my reward?" The human did not answer. He kept his eyes forward. That annoyed her. "Are you mute?" she asked. Still no reply. Around them, the masters laughed. "Look at him," one said. "The human is scared." Another added, "He knows he won't last long." The orc girl tightened her jaw. She hated being used for entertainment. She hated chains. She hated masters. But most of all, she hated being forced to harm someone weaker. The master raised his hand. "Your first task," he said, "is simple." The floor beneath them opened. A platform rose up, carrying broken machines, sharp tools, and unstable energy cores. Sparks flew in every direction. "Fix it," the master said. Together, the crowd groaned. Repair work? Boring. But the masters smiled, because they knew the truth. These machines were old military tech. One wrong move could explode. Slaves had died here before. Slowly, painfully, the orc girl looked at the human again. "You will die," she said. "Humans are bad with tech." The human finally spoke. His voice was calm, quiet. "I will try." She blinked. That was all. No begging, no fear. They stepped onto the platform. The chains forced them to move as one. When she stepped forward, he followed. When he reached out, she felt the pull. She did not like it. The machine in front of them was broken open. Wires burned. Energy leaked from a cracked core. The orc girl crossed her arms. "Fix it," she said. "I will watch." The human knelt down. He studied the machine carefully. His eyes moved slowly over the parts. He did not rush. He did not panic. Minutes passed. The crowd grew impatient. "What is he doing?" "He's wasting time." He would die anyway. Then the human reached out. He adjusted a cable, closed a broken circuit, used a piece of metal as a tool. The machine hummed. The orc girl frowned. That was not normal. The energy core stabilized. The platform lights turned green. A loud sound echoed. "Task complete." The crowd went silent. The master leaned forward. "Interesting," he muttered. The orc girl stared at the human. "You know technology," she said slowly. The human stood up. "I learn," he replied. That answer confused her even more. They were sent to another task. Then another. Dangerous work. Heavy lifting. Unstable systems. Each time, the human stayed calm. Each time, he helped them survive. Once a support beam collapsed. The chain pulled her off balance. She was about to fall into an energy pit. The human grabbed her arm. The chain cut into his wrist. Pain flashed across his face. But he did not let go. She looked at him, shocked. "Why?" she asked when they were safe. "Why help me?" He shrugged slightly. "If you fall," he said, "we both fall." That night, they were locked into a shared cell. The orc girl sat against the wall, arms crossed. The human sat across from her. Silence filled the room. Finally, she spoke. "Humans are not given rewards," she said. "I have seen this place for many years. This never happens." The human looked up. "Then why me?" She shook her head. "I don't know," she said. "But it means something." She leaned closer. "It means they are watching you." The human felt it too. Eyes everywhere. Cameras. Masters whispering. He lowered his voice. "They think I am weak," he said. The orc girl laughed quietly. "They think we both are," she replied. For the first time, there was no hate in her eyes. Only curiosity. Outside the cell, unseen by them, a master spoke in a cold voice. "The human adapts too fast." Another replied. "Then break his reward." A pause. "Kill the orc," the voice said, "and see what the human does." In the dark cell, the human closed his eyes. Somewhere deep inside, something old began to wake up. Not hope, not fear, something far more dangerous. The next cycle began with blood. The arena lights turned red as alarms echoed through the station. Slaves were pushed into open combat zones. This was not work. This was punishment. The human and the orc girl were dragged forward, their chains still locked together. This is not normal, the orc girl said quietly. They are testing you. The human nodded once. He already knew. The gates opened. From the other side, 3 armored beasts walked in. Not slaves. Hunters. Creatures trained only to kill. Their claws scraped the metal floor as they moved closer. The crowd screamed with joy. Fight! Let the human die. The orc girl pulled the chain tight and stepped forward. Stay behind me, she ordered. She lifted a broken blade from the ground. Her muscles tensed. Her eyes burned. The beasts charged. She met them head-on. Steel clashed. Sparks flew. She fought like a storm, strong and fast. But 3 enemies were too many. One beast slammed in her side, throwing her to the ground. The chain pulled the human with her. One beast turned toward him. The human did not run. He looked around. He saw the floor panels, the exposed energy lines, the broken arena traps. His mind moved fast, too fast. As the beast lunged, the human yanked the chain hard, pulling the orc girl aside. He grabbed a loose cable and slammed it into the metal floor. The energy surged. The beast screamed as electricity ripped through its body. The crowd went silent. The second beast charged. The human rolled, dragging the orc girl with him. He hit a floor switch with his foot. A hidden spike shot up. The beast fell. The third beast hesitated. That was its mistake. The orc girl rose, rage in her eyes, and struck. The beast dropped in one clean blow. Silence. Then chaos. The crowd exploded. What did we just see? A human did that. The orc girl stared at the human. You planned that, she said. You saw everything before it happened. He breathed heavily. I was trained, he replied. They were pulled out of the arena and thrown into a holding room. Blood stained the floor. The air was thick with tension. The orc girl turned to him. No more lies, she said. What are you? The human leaned against the wall. I was a soldier, he said. Before Earth fell. Her eyes widened. Soldiers die first, she said. He shook his head. Some of us survived. We learned. We adapted. We fought enemies stronger than us. He looked at his hands. We lost because we trusted the wrong people. She was quiet. Then she sat down beside him. Orcs are born for war, she said. Strength is everything in my world. You have less strength, but more control. She looked at him with respect. That makes you dangerous. Days passed. They were sent on harder tasks, deadlier arenas. No rest. The human learned the station, its systems, its patterns. The orc girl trained him to fight, how to strike, how to move, how to survive without armor. In return, he taught her strategy, how to wait, how to trap, how to think before striking. They became a unit. The slaves noticed. Whispers spread. Watch the human. He thinks like a master. He does not break. Above them, the masters watched. This is wrong, one said. The human should be dead. Another leaned forward. He is learning too fast. The chief master spoke coldly. Then end this experiment. Orders were sent. That night, guards entered the cell. They dragged the orc girl out. The human struggled. Stop, he said. A guard laughed. You live. She dies. The cell door slammed shut. The human was alone. Minutes passed. Then hours. Every sound felt louder. Then he heard it. A scream. The orc girl screamed. Something inside the human snapped. Not anger. Not fear. Resolve. Across the station, systems flickered. A master frowned. Why did sector lights just go out? The human stood in the dark, eyes open. He whispered a single sentence. They should not have touched her. And for the first time since Earth burned, the human stopped surviving. He started preparing for war. The station lights flickered. Once. Twice. Then whole corridors went dark. Guards shouted into their devices. Doors failed to respond. Security systems blinked red. In a small cell, the human stood very still. His chains were still on, but his mind was free. He had spent many cycles watching, learning, remembering. Every machine had a weakness. Every system had a pattern. The masters never thought a human would understand it. That was their mistake. Far away, the orc girl was dragged into the arena. Her armor was damaged. Blood ran down her arm. She was pushed to her knees. The crowd watched, excited. "This is what happens to rewards," a master announced. "They're taken away." The orc girl lifted her head. She did not beg. She did not cry. She waited. Back in the cell block, the human moved. He pulled the chain hard against a power conduit in the wall. Sparks flew. Pain burned through his arms, but he did not stop. The chain melted. The lock fell open. He was free. Alarms screamed across the station. Security breach. Human sector compromised. Guards ran. Too late. The human moved through dark halls, using shadows and broken lights. He took a fallen guard's weapon. He did not fire wildly. He waited. He aimed. One shot, then another. Clean. Precise. In the arena, the orc girl was forced to fight again. Heavy beasts were released. The crowd cheered. She fought with everything she had left. Still, she was slowing. A beast struck her chest. She fell hard. The master stood. "Finish her." The beast raised its claws. A loud blast echoed. The beast's head exploded. Silence filled the arena. Smoke drifted. A figure stood at the gate. The human. The crowd froze. "That's impossible," someone whispered. The human walked forward slowly. Not like a slave, like a soldier. Guards raised their weapons. The human spoke loudly, his voice echoing through the arena. "She is not your property." He fired. Weapons failed. System shut down. The station was turning against its owners. Slaves in the stands watched in shock. He's fighting back. A human is fighting back. The orc girl struggled to stand. She looked at him. "You came," she said. He nodded once. "Always." They stood back to back. Human and orc. Slave and warrior. Together. The masters shouted orders. "Kill them both." Guards rushed in. The orc girl roared and charged. Even injured, she was deadly. The human covered her, using the arena traps, turning the master's own games against them. Slaves began to move. One threw a chain. Another tackled a guard. Hope spread like fire. "This is our chance," someone shouted. The arena became chaos. Across the station, slave cells opened. Systems failed. Doors unlocked. The human's voice echoed through emergency speakers. "You are not animals," he said. "You were made slaves. Today you choose." The words hit deep. Slaves rose. Guards fell. The masters ran. The orc girl fought beside the human, her strength fueled by something new. Freedom. They reached the command level. Fires burned behind them. Explosions shook the walls. A master blocked their path. "You think you won?" the master sneered. "You are still nothing." The human looked at him calmly. "You made one mistake," he said. "You forgot what humans do when we stop fearing death." He activated the final override. The station shook violently. Escape ships launched automatically. The master screamed as systems shut down around him. The human turned to the orc girl. "This place will fall," he said. "We have minutes." She grabbed his arm. "Then we run together." They ran toward the hangar as flames filled the halls. Behind them, Zarnak Station began to die. Ahead of them, stars waited. And somewhere in the galaxy, a new story was about to spread. The story of a human slave who broke the chains. Zarnak Station was dying. Fire burned through its halls. Metal walls cracked. Warning alarms screamed in every language known to the galaxy. Escape ships launched one by one. Inside one small transport ship, the human and the orc girl sat across from each other. Their breathing was heavy. Blood stained the floor. Smoke filled the air, but they were alive. The ship pulled away from the station. Outside the window, Zarnak Station exploded in silence. A bright light spread, then faded into space dust. The orc girl watched quietly. "It's over," she said. The human shook his head slowly. "No," he replied. "It's just starting." Around them, other ships flew free. Former slaves, different races, broken people who had never believed they would see the stars without chains. Some cried, some laughed, some just stared at the darkness. For the first time, they were not owned. Hours later, the ships reached a hidden asteroid base. Old, forgotten, built long ago by smugglers and rebels. The survivors gathered inside. They looked at the human, not because he was strong, not because he was loud, but because he had stood up first. A tall alien stepped forward. "You could leave," the alien said. "Disappear. Why stay?" The human looked around at the tired faces. Because if we run, he said, they will build another station. Another Zarnax. Silence followed. The orc girl stepped beside him. In my world, she said, strength decides worth. But this human has no army. No throne. Still, he changed everything. She placed her hand on his shoulder. I will fight with him. Others stepped forward. So will I. And I. We are done being slaves. A movement was born that day. Not an empire. A warning. Across the galaxy, messages spread fast. A slave station destroyed. Masters missing. Slaves free. And one name whispered again and again. Not shouted. Whispered. The human. The masters tried to hide the truth. They said it was an accident. A system failure. A rebel lie. But fear cannot be erased. In secret rooms, powerful beings spoke quietly. Humans are not extinct, one said. They adapt, said another. They inspire, said a third. Weeks passed. The human trained with the orc girl. He was still weaker in body, but faster in mind. She taught him how to fight. He taught her how to plan. They became equals. One night, they stood together, watching the stars. Why did you come back for me? She asked softly. You could have escaped alone. The human thought for a moment. On Earth, he said, we lost because we stopped protecting each other. He looked at her. I won't make that mistake again. She smiled. A real smile. Something rare. Something dangerous. Hope. Far away, a slave ship changed course. Then another. Signals spread. Humans began to appear again. Survivors. Hidden groups. Lost soldiers. They heard the story. A human slave. An orc warrior. A station that fell. And they remembered who they were. The galaxy had believed humans were weak. But weakness does not break chains. Well, does. In time, statues would rise on free worlds. Not of kings. Not of gods. But of a human with chains in his hands broken. And beside him, an orc warrior standing proud. Because the galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget. Do not mistake silence for surrender. And never underestimate a human who has nothing left to lose.